Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Hope everybody's doing well. I'll be real brief and then try to answer your questions. Got great respect for Virginia. These are like universities. A lot of our fans are really buddies with their fans and business partners. And Bronco's been a friend for a long time. He's done a tremendous job when he was at Brigham Young and now at Virginia as well. They're well coached. They're tough. You have to give them credit. Got great young people on their team. I met some of them at Media Day, and obviously we've recruited some of them. So look forward to another great game. The games with them the last 2 years have come down to the last drive. Last year we didn't contain a fake punt that ran out the backside that we had felt like we had stopped on the front side. And the year before, Diami dropped a pass on 4th and 10 that would have given us first down. So we've had our chances, but haven't finished the game like we should. Should be another great atmosphere this weekend in Kenan Stadium. We've sold all the tickets for every game we could since we've been here. So we're excited to see a full house on Saturday night, and we seem more used to night games now. We've had 3 in a row. We'll have 3 in a row, and Georgia Tech is also at night. So we feel like we played hard at Virginia Tech. We played hard at the other night in Kenan against Georgia State. So unlike last year where we had all the noon games and then had all of a sudden a 7:30 thrown in, and we also practiced once at night. So we feel like we're more adjusted to the night games than we have been. Another shout out to the students. They were unbelievable Saturday night. They were fun. They were there early. They were so loud. Our players enjoyed them in the fourth quarter with their little ritual there, and they also enjoyed them after the ball game. Practice has been good. Like everybody else in the country, we got some guys banged up, but they're fighting through it. They know the importance of this game as far as the Coastal is concerned. I told them it's important to our program, but at the same time, it's about us. It's not about who we play. We got to play better. And when we get people hurt, we can't have an excuse for who's hurt. We've had 2 full recruiting classes. We've got to start being able to have people to step in and play. So I talked to the coaches and the players at length yesterday about it's your opportunity. If somebody's out, you got an opportunity to step up. It's your turn to play. You're on scholarship too. So questions.
Okay, thanks, Coach. We will begin with Luciano. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. If I recall correctly, you said right before leaving Monday's press conference that Virginia should be ranked higher and that they are not being treated fairly. I just wanted to know what's the main reason for you saying that?
Because Virginia's 2-0, and they've dominated both ball games. And probably because they didn't finish as well as they wanted to last year. They haven't been rated as well, but I think that there are definitely teams in the top 25 not as good as Virginia.
Okay, over to Greg Barnes.
Hey, Mac. Playing physical and playing tough has kind of been a talking point leading up to this game Saturday. Just curious, how do you go about coaching those things throughout the course of a year and in development?
Greg, you coach it every day. You coach it constantly, and it's something that when somebody plays poorly, everybody says they're soft. When somebody plays great, they say, "Oh my!" They don't even talk about toughness, but they talk about how great a team it is, and they look great there. But the first label you get when you lose a game is soft, because this is a tough game. So we talk about toughness every day. Every young person in the country that plays college football is tough. I mean, they're disciplined. They have a tough off season. They practice every day. Their lives are different than the students. They get drug tested. If they're late to a meeting, you slam the door. Ours have to get in bed at 10 o'clock at night because they got 5 o'clock wake up call the next morning at 5:30. So toughness is a bad word when you start talking about teams. They're all tough. And every young person playing college football is tough. what I said yesterday, and I actually addressed it after practice today. Who would I take in an alley with me if somebody jumped me and they'd fight? Who competes? So it's not toughness as much as who has confidence and who competes every day. The other part of toughness is pain threshold. There's a difference in pain and injury. And I couldn't play hurt, and I stayed hurt all the time. So that was a problem for my career. And guys that are hurt all the time, it's hard to depend on them. It's hard to give them practice time. It's hard for them to think about the NFL because the NFL is not going to pay guys that are hurt. So I think, Greg, more than just toughness, it's the ability to play with some pain and know the difference in pain and injury. I'm sore, but I'm injured. I mean, Day Hollins, he had a lower leg fixed, so he can't play. That has nothing to do with toughness. That's just a bad break for him. But other guys that stay on the edge all the time and have pain all the time and can't participate. And then there's those guys that don't want to practice, but they want to play in the games, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. We've all tried that, and if that worked, you would never have to practice. So I told him the other day, maybe I should just show up on Friday, go to the movie with the guys on Friday night, bid the games, and that'd be fun. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. You got to work. So it's a great question. It's one I've thought about for 47 years, and very honestly, it's not toughness because they're all tough, but it's competitive spirit. It's being confident enough to compete when the game is on the line, especially late. And it's the ability to play when you've got some pain.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Michael Coe, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, when you're playing a team like Virginia that you guys haven't beaten in a while, I believe it's been 4 years, is that something that you bring up with the coaches and the team in the week leading up to the game, or is it just let's focus on this year?
Michael, it's both. Everybody brings it up, so they're on social media. They read, so they know. And the guys on this team are aware they haven't beaten Virginia, and we haven't beaten them the last 2 years since we've been here. So, but it has nothing to do with the game. You go back and you play the best you can play, and you prepare for you. I asked Coach Darrell Royal one time. Oklahoma had beaten us 4 in a row, and I said, Coach, how do you flip it? What do you do when you've lost to a team and they're on a streak? Because obviously that team gets more confidence, and your team starts tightening up trying to win because it's talked about year round. And he said, when you're tired of hearing it and you're good enough, you'll fix it. And and really that's true. So I know ours are tired of hearing it. They got to be good enough to go play well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Andrew Jones, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, when you're playing a team like Virginia that does a lot of unique stuff, really on both sides of the ball, but particularly on offense, what is the challenge in getting the kids to understand the importance of their disciplines and just staying within their own role and not being thrown off a little bit by some of that pre-snap stuff that UVA does?
Andrew, you've got to be really, really careful not to use it as eye candy and get off your fundamentals. You got to still line up and play when the ball snapped. So don't get yourself in a position where you're confused and you're looking for this and that. There's still going to be a run or a pass, and you still got to block, and you still got to tackle. So don't let all the window dressing and the eye candy screw with your mind. Just line up and play, and that's the most important thing.
When you're going through a week of preparation like this for a team like this, can you have much of a handle on where the kids are in that respect, or you just have to wait and see what they do Saturday?
You know, this is the third year that we've seen them. So I think our coaches will have a pretty good feel of what to expect from Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, over to Aaron Beard.
Hey, Mac, I had a little bit of a bigger picture question beyond just Virginia. When you're dealing with kids in a locker room in a normal year, you have, freshmen all the way to seniors, maybe some grad students. With super seniors and extra year guys and everybody else, I mean, I guess in theory, the age groups can get even more farther apart. And there's a lot of difference between someone that's coming into school early at 17, 18 versus someone who like Garrett Walston, who's I guess in his 6th year. So is there any difference in how you sort of address almost these audiences within your audience when you're talking to the group?
Aaron, we're just very honest with them and very direct. And we've asked the older guys to coach the younger ones. We've asked them to be their big brothers and let them understand the young ones aren't playing as much as they'd like to, most of them right now. It's really hard. They're tired of preseason camp. It's harder than high school. They've got school on them now for a month. So they're going through a lot of things they've never been through. And the seniors and the super seniors went through all that as a youngster. So we've asked them to try to help the guys better than they were helped when they were younger, to teach them exactly how to handle all this stuff, because it's hard. Again, I talked to the whole team today about how hard playing college football is. You get a scholarship, most of it. There's even walk-ons out there that don't get paid any, and they work every minute of every day, which I admire them so much. And then they don't get to play in the games, most of them. So I think the biggest thing is that we've talked to our team about. We have a real divide between old and young, and some of the really talented young ones are going to play more than some of the older ones. And that's a tougher thing too. It's more difficult when a guy's been here 5 and 6 years and doesn't get to play as much. And then the younger ones aren't as mature. They're not as confident. So you've got to figure out how many plays they can play without hurting your team at the same time. So I've always said that football, there's 100 plus, 120 players on a football team, and only 11 play at a time. So you've got real depression issues and disappointed parents and disappointed high school coaches, because most of the players on your team are sitting on the bench most of the game and all year. So the reward is winning for the group. The reward is graduation. The reward is, this is kind of like their fraternity, and they'll be lifetime friends when they get out of here. The reward is that job they can get when they graduate from the University of North Carolina. But there's not a lot of instant gratification for most of the guys on a football team, because they don't get to play as much as they'd like.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Aaron.
CL Brown, go ahead.
Hi, Mac. I was curious how you answered that question. Who would you take with you in the alley? Who are the most competitive guys you have on the squad?
Well, CL, if I said that, then I would be calling out the ones I wouldn't take into the alley, and some of them have to play for us on Saturday too. So that would be that. I will say that one of the first guys I'd take is Jaquarius Conley, because he is really, really tough. And no one on our team would question that. And I don't think if Jaquarius and I were walking down the alley, if they couldn't get to me first, nobody'd go to him.
Fair,
He
fair enough.
he loves football, and he competes every play.
And I also want to ask about the defense. With the added depth you guys have this year, how does that kind of manifest itself in giving you, I guess, more flexibility to do different things on that side of the ball?
CL, a few things. I think Strobridge played 98 plays against Virginia Tech 2 years ago. And Aaron Crawford played maybe 89, 90. And we go to 6 overtimes. And that's very, very unfair to ask those young guys to do that. And to hustle and play hard every play, and then be able to come back and play the next week and play another 80 or 90 plays. So number one, we're fresher. And we can play a guy 60 plays instead of 98. We can play a guy 25 plays and get full speed 25 plays. So you're less likely to get hurt. You should have more production and fewer plays because you're fresher. Then the other part is Jay's done a good job with packages, and a guy like Clyde Pender's a really good pass rusher. So he can put Clyde in. Maybe Clyde's not ready to do some of the other things as well, but he can put him in the game in a speed package where we're just rushing the passer and chasing down draws and screens. That's 100% what it is. So it allows Clyde to play 10 or 15 plays a game hopefully, if you've got long yardage and passing situations, where if he had to play like Aaron Crawford and play 90 plays, he wouldn't be ready to do that. It also allows you to play some young guys more where you just have one thing they do instead of trying to teach them the whole defense. So in this package, here's your job, and that's all you've got to do. So it simplifies the package for guys. Now, the other part of that is we have to do a better job of making sure that we know how many plays each guy plays on the sideline. So we're not looking up after the game, said, oh my gosh, he only played 5 plays. He should have been there 15. So we're being more conscious of exactly how many plays guys are in there.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, CO.
Okay, over to Ross Martin.
Hey, Coach, I have a variation of CL's question. Which one of your staff members would you want with you in a dark alley, and which ACC coach would you want with you in dark alley? And I have another question.
Oh gosh, Ross. Number one, I'd have to take all the coaches because I'm in an alley with them every Saturday. and they better fight. They better compete. It's one thing I've always told our coaches. If we're in trouble in a game, I tell them, you better have them compete. They better fight, because we are not going to have a team that reflects who we are that doesn't compete and fight. So I'd say all of them. I'm sitting here trying to think. Longo was a boxer, so I don't know if you'd put a boxer in the alley or not, but Stacy was an NFL guy. Thig was an NFL guy. Dre was an NFL guy. So there's a lot of guys that you'd probably put in there. You might even go with Hollier or Steinbacher or Kevin Donnelly, because they'd fight you too. And what was your second question, Ross? Sorry.
Just an ACC coach, the toughest ACC coach you think you'd want in the alley with you?
I can't do that.
All right,
Then I make all the others mad. Somebody asked me yesterday that a writer emailed me and said, what are the top 5 jobs in America? I said, okay, I can make 125 mad. So I said, Carolina, UNC, Tar Heels, Chapel Hill's football team, the University of North Carolina were my top 5 jobs.
Yeah, you're a people pleaser. All right, my actual football question is, what's one thing that's kind of surprised you after 2 weeks of practice, 2 games about this team, whether it be something, good that's surprising or something that you expected to be better at this point, maybe going in training camp?
I'm disappointed in the amount of injuries we've had in the offensive line. That's been something I didn't anticipate because we didn't have it last year. And it's weird. Sometimes it just happens, but that's why we got to have other guys step up. We can't use injuries as an excuse. I knew it would take some time to get a different identity on offense than we've had for the last 2 years. And I think we did that last week. Hopefully we'll see an offense that we can recognize on Saturday night. And I like this team. They compete, and I got down more after Virginia Tech probably than they did. They were disappointed, but they fought back and played really well last week. It was harder for me, and I got to get over that. I got to grow up. I understand that. I got to mature, like I said I was going to do, and instead of getting my head down. But it's I think they know how good this program's future is going to be, and they're very, very excited about it. And they practice good every day. First year we were here, we had some bad practices, and it was really frustrating, and they led to bad games. Last year we were much better. So far we have not had a bad practice, and they compete and they like each other. So and they're classy, and they've acted right. They've done things right, and I'm really proud of them.
All right, Coach, that was our last question. We've got to actually take that back. We got one more from Michael Coe. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Coach, I'll just get one more in here. You mentioned Bronco at BYU. Do you take anything from those games when you were at Texas against Broncos teams going into this game?
No, I really don't, Michael. They're completely different in every way than they were there. And I think it's a credit to Bronco. He's adjusted his thoughts and his schemes to Virginia. They had Taysom Hill, who is a great player, in the NFL at quarterback, and he was a tremendous player. But Virginia is obviously very different than Brigham Young, and to his credit, I think he has transitioned to Virginia and done the things that are best for Virginia, different than what he did at Brigham Young, and that's the mark of a great coach. He's really smart. Bronco goes by the rules. He's honest. He's fair. He treats his kids nice, and still coaches them really, really hard. So I admire him and what he's done, and I admire their staff. They've done a really good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, we had a couple more hop in here, Coach. Art Chansky, go ahead.
Hey, Mac, would it be fair to say that you used the running game to set up the passing game last season, and you may have to use the passing game to set up the running game this season? And how difficult is it? What is the difference between those two things, and how difficult is it?
All right, we'd have to go back, and you all could check me out. Jeremy, I think we were about even with the run and the pass last year. I think we were right on the same numbers. It was amazing how close it was. And I checked our run pass ratio on first down the other day, and it's 32 runs and 32 passes. What we've got to do, Art, is still be who we are, but we've got to do a better job on first downs. That's where we've half of those first down runs on first down runs, we haven't made 4 yards, and it's put us in a very difficult second and third and long situation. So we're still figuring all that out. Sam's ability to run has really helped us with our running game. People don't want to count that. That's unfair. It counts. What we've got to do is just keep bringing those running backs on and trying to make sure that we can be balanced. It's really, really hard to win college football games if you're heavy to a point. You're one-dimensional, and you can if you're going to be one-dimensional, you need to be one-dimensional more running than passing, in my estimation. Because if you can run it, there's going to be a time they can stop it because they'll put everybody up there, and you have to throw it. But if you're throwing it every time, defensive linemen rushing the passer are usually better by and large than offensive linemen trying to protect the passer. So if you're having to throw it every time, you're going to have a tough time with your quarterback. So we've got to continue to fight the running game. And it was so easy for us the last two last 2 years, and we were healthy, and those two backs are really good. The Broncos scout was out here yesterday, and he said, "We love Javonte Williams." And I said, "Yeah, me too." But you lose two great ones. We knew that, and these guys just have to keep coming. But we can't give up on our running game.
So are they almost daring you to prove the run before they do the things that will allow you to get more separation in the secondary?
Most people are going to come into the game to stop the run, disrupt the quarterback. That's fundamental, sound defensive football. And they know if you run the ball, then the game's over. And we ran it for over 200 yards on Saturday night. So people aren't going to come in and just say, "We'll let you run the ball." They're not going to do that. And also, when you stop the run and they know that you're in passing situations on second and third and long, it is really hard to protect. And people do a better job with their defensive schemes on third down than any other time. That third down and long is where everybody has a scheme. And most of the time you have a new scheme just coming into that ball game because that, it's a chance to force a turnover. It's a change of possession if they don't make it. So getting people in second and long is key, but also keeping them from making that first down and third and long is so key to win college football games. And that's usually where you get your hits on the quarterback, and that's normally where you get your turnovers.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Art.
All right, last one today will come from Dina King.
Hey, Coach, how excited was you to finally get your commits and recruits in Keenan? It's been over a year, so I just want your thoughts on that.
And it was great. It was different. last year you're walking around, there wasn't anybody in the stadium. There's no band, no cheerleaders, nobody to see. And so you talked to the officials and walked out in the middle of the stadium like as a scrimmage. And then Saturday we got recruits everywhere, and families everywhere. And I'm sorry that we still can't do our bell tower walk because guys would be touching a lot of people and hugging people. And there's still so much COVID out there. We've got to be really, really careful and smart with our guys. Our guys, like last year, are doing a tremendous job with COVID and making sure that they're careful, and we're wearing masks at all the times. But it was so much fun, Dina, to have the recruits back on campus. It just and our coaches going out on Thursday and Friday night to see high school coaches and to see games. That's just what we've done our whole lives, and it was so different for that months of pandemic where it wasn't deemed safe to do, and it's so much more normal now, and to see full crowds, it just shows you how much we really missed it when we didn't have it. And it'll be interesting to see with some of you all, will you keep watching the game at home, or will you come back to stadiums, or does it give you a chance to get to 3 games a day and instead of 1, and then you zoom into each press conference? It's some of these things that we've learned may change who we are. Last week we did the TV analyst by Zoom, and they actually came to the game, where in the past they would have been here on Friday and sat in our office building. So a lot of things may change based on what's best for everybody. I guess same thing with press conferences. If I don't know when Wakes and Dukes and States are, but if they're all near the same time, it may be easier for you to stay at home and Zoom and get to all of them than it would be trying to drive to one or the other. So as awful as COVID's been, maybe we'll learn some things that'll be helpful.
All right, Coach, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for a few minutes this morning.
Thank you, Mark. Everybody travel safe, and we'll see you Saturday night. Should be a good one.